Welcome to Tea
and E with a T.
I'm your host, Teresa.
I'm your co-host, Edwin.
And today we're talking about Astroworld. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. This episode contains discussion of sensitive topics that may be distressing for some audiences. Please take care while listening, and if these topics are triggering for you, we encourage you to prioritize your well-being. So, I don't know if you ever heard of Astroworld. Did you ever hear it at that time? It was 2021.
I just heard about the album, the whole like mouth open. That's all I know about Astroworld.
Mm-hmm.
Like just like Travis Scott's gold, I guess, sculpture.
Yeah.
And his mouth is open, and then there's a bunch of things behind him. That's all I know.
That's all you know about the
Astroworld until the whole Astroworld documentary came out and all the things and everything. Yeah.
So you didn't hear at the time how like all the TikTok videos were coming out about Astroworld and what was going on in at the concert?
Mm-mm.
You didn't see that?
Mm-mm.
Oh my god, I saw it when it came out, and I was seeing all the videos of all the people on the floor and everybody screaming for help, and then fire everywhere.
Wow.
So I saw the videos when it first came out, or the TikTok videos when it first started, or when the event happened. But I didn't really research into it. I just heard things like here and there about what happened at Astroworld. But did you know that there was a festival? Like, not a festival, sorry. Did you know that there was a theme park called
Park?
Astroworld in Houston, Texas before all of this?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
So
it would make sense.
I'm gonna summarize it right now, but I'm gonna talk about the theme park later on. But basically, there was a theme park called Astroworld, and Travis Scott wanted to kind of what is the word? He wanted to kind of create it again, because that was like his childhood. Astroworld, the theme park. It was Six Flags Astroworld.
Oh, but it wasn't made by Travis Scott. It was made by Six Flags.
Yeah, Six Flags Astroworld.
Okay.
Yeah, so he grew up with it, and so he kind of wanted to create it again and make his own Astroworld. So it's Six Flags Astroworld and Astroworld of Travis Scott. But there was a little things that happened in the theme park that to me kind of makes it feel like, oh well, maybe it's just like a curse, because so many things happen in the theme park and then this happens. It shows like from the theme park to the actual like the Travis Scott festival. It shows that there's like a resemblance into like a lot of things happen in that theme park that kind of made the theme park look a little bit off, and a lot of people didn't want to go anymore, but also financial issues and all this stuff. And then also like with the festival of Travis Scott, a lot of people died, so, and then there was just a lot of downfall, and then they didn't create it again, so it ended. So that's something that I didn't want to bring up, but I am going to talk about a little bit more. So about I know that you mentioned the Netflix show, or the Netflix documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it, and it starts off with everybody jumping around, everybody having a good time, everybody, everybody's smiling, everybody's just having a good time. And then all of a sudden it turns from everybody screaming for help. Everybody, you can see like the tears in their eyes. You can see the scare in their face.
At the concert.
At the concert. And that's when everything switched. So it went from everybody was having a good time, everybody was having fun, and then all of a sudden from one switch, it was the opposite. Everybody was scared for their lives. Whenever I would see the videos on TikTok, they would be like at one point I was having the time of my life, and then the next it was the worst day of my life.
Dang, so many people were excited. I saw a little bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
People were like super excited, and they wanted to support Travis Scott as much as possible.
Yeah, everybody was so excited. Everybody was coming from different spots. Like they weren't even from Texas. They were like coming from, I don't know, California or Georgia, wherever. They were coming from different states.
Mm-hmm.
So Travis Scott I mean, I don't know if you know him, but I used to listen to him
Mm-hmm.
back in my days. I'm only 27, but
Oi,
still,
oi.
he is a known rapper. He's really big, and everybody talks about him. He is known for dating Kylie Jenner. He is this like big artist. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he has songs like "Fiend," "Goosebumps," "Heist in the Room," "Sicko Mode," "Butterfly Effect." So like those are the most popular songs out there in like the rap.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Rap world.
Rap world.
Industry.
Yeah. So that's Travis Scott. Now picking up to the Astroworld. Astroworld, he created that festival. It started in 2018 and then ended in 2021, right? And Astroworld, the reason why he wanted to create it, and like I said in the beginning, he wanted to create his childhood again because his childhood was Astroworld, the theme park.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the Disney World of Texas. It was like the Disneyland of Texas.
Yeah.
That's how Astroworld was viewed. So when he wanted to create that, I mean, he created his own thing, and they even had like a little circus, a little
Oh,
festival
really?
type of vibe
Yeah. In
in the
2018, that's when it started?
yeah in
Okay.
his festival, right? But we're gonna talk about Six Flags Astroworld. So Six Flags Astroworld was kind of like a wonderful world of fun. That's how it was advertised.
Yeah.
It opened in 1968 and closed in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
And they had like international sections. So like there was a section for Mexico, there was a section for Japan, there was a section for Italy, you know, different sections of the world. And you can visit all those sections. Make it seem like or make it feel like you're visiting different parts of the world
In
basically.
Astroworld, that's what it
In
was?
Astroworld.
That's pretty
That's how they
cool.
started. And at first, it was 56 acres, and it costed them $10 million to create all of it when they
$10 million?
first opened. Yes. So that
That
was
that's crazy because that's low key kind of cheap
yes. So it went from 20 million, around 20 million, 25.
to create.
Yeah, they at first when they were like speaking about it, they were like, okay, it's gonna cost us like 25 million, 20 million to create everything
Yeah.
that we want to create. And then eventually it started going down. It went down to 15 million and then down to 10
Why?
million. I don't know if they couldn't do the things that they wanted to do and maybe they just like, you know, settled for less and they just continued on
Maybe
with
they didn't
what they
have the
could
funds
make.
for 25 million
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But it went down from 20 million to 10 million and they had 56 acres of
Mm-hmm.
land.
Mm-hmm.
Outside there was air conditioning. There the age limit was literally unlimited. Anybody from 2 years old to like
There was no
60
age
years old.
limit. Yeah.
Yeah, you could go into Astroworld. Astroworld was for everyone. They even created a hotel near the theme park itself
Mm-hmm.
for people that are coming outside of the state.
Yeah.
So, or even like from outside of the city. They wanted people to come from everywhere to go visit Astroworld. It was basically like a Disney World. You know
Yeah.
how we visit Disney World, we visit Disneyland. It was like that. They wanted it to be like that. They kind of people kind of like in a way made it or made it seem like it was more similar to Disney World, and they were like, "You're just trying to copy Disney World, you're trying to copy
Mm-hmm.
Disneyland, all this stuff." And
Yeah.
they're like, "No, well, I mean, we're trying to do our own thing, but we want it to be like, you
A
know how."
specific way.
Yeah, but we want it to be like how you guys do it, like how everybody visits you guys, but we
Mm-hmm.
want to be different at the same time.
Yeah.
So that was the case with Astroworld. The adult tickets were $4.50. Obviously, it was really cheap back then. Now it'd probably be like $80, $100, but whatever. And the children were $3.50. And then they dropped a dollar by 7 p.m. So the time, I mean, the when they opened was 10 a.m. and when they closed was 10 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
So the prices dropped if somebody wanted to go later during the day, like at 7
Ah,
p.m.
okay.
They drop a dollar. So
Oh,
it's
that's
for the
nice.
adults it would be 350 and for the kids would be 250.
Ah,
Okay.
okay, okay.
The rides were crazy but fun. That's how people described it. There was
Mm-hmm.
around 16 rides and there was like characters all around, like you know how in Disney World, well, I mean, I know that you've never been, but in Disney World there's like Donald Duck,
Oh
there's
yeah.
Mickey Mouse, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, people dress up as them and they go around and walk around, right? That's kind of how what they had to. They had little characters, and they would just walk around and they would take pictures with the kids and stuff like that. A week before it opened, two people died. Two people died by getting crushed under a 6,000-pound boat that was being set up for the Lost World Adventure, which the Lost World Adventure is one of the sections of Astroworld.
Yeah.
So that boat was being set up, and I don't know how it happened, but they got under it and they both got crushed under this
Under
boat.
the construction.
Oh, well, under this boat specifically.
When they were doing the construction. I
Yeah,
mean.
when they
Yeah.
were doing this construction, they got crushed by the 6,000-pound boat. So that was 2 weeks before it opened. So already started off on a bad start,
Yeah.
at least in my point of view, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So opening day, within 2 hours, 5,000 people showed up, which for them was not their goal. Their goal was more. 5,000 people, I mean, it was good, but they were like, dang, like we were trying to like advertise it as much to where everybody wanted to come. But, you know, 5,000 people was not bad. Complaints started. So people started saying that there was a lot of mosquitoes. There was drainage. The drainage was bad. It was like turning into a swamp. Like when it would rain, it would just, no, there was no drainage. It was just all full of water. They got rid of the guns from shows because they thought that that was showing kids like gun violence, like violence. It was promoting violence in a way. So they got rid of guns and people started complaining about that, so they got rid of it. The first year was not great,
As expected.
so only 1 million went, and they expected around 1.6 million, which is not bad, but still, like, they had a goal.
Yeah.
And then there was too many rainy days to where at one point there was 10 days of rain, straight rain. So a lot of people were not showing up those days because of that, you know. And the first major accident happened within that year. So in 1969, around the beginning of 1969, because they opened in June or July of 1968. So 1969, in the beginning, one of the sides of the Astro wheel fell 10 feet to 12 feet down. So there's this wheel that literally goes like this.
Like a Ferris wheel?
Kind of, but it goes fast. And there's two on each side. It goes like this.
Yeah.
And one of the sides dropped down, and it dropped down to 10 to 12 feet down. And no one was seriously injured, but 17 were sent to the hospital.
Those were the people on the wheel?
Yeah, most likely.
And
then in 1971, that was their best year. So they expanded
how many
a
years
lot
after
more.
is that?
So that was the first year was from 1968 to 1969. So 2 years after, 1971 was their best year. So they expanded a lot more.
You see, that's crazy. That shows you how business works.
Wow.
In the beginning, it's crazy because it doesn't have matter how much you prepare. You're always gonna have some, like, you're always gonna have some backlash. You know what I mean? You're gonna like, oh shoot, we didn't think about this. Oh, we didn't think about this. Oh, we can do this to improve this. You know, people are flowing this way. We could like adjust it so people could flow this way. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's
you think
maybe
about
why.
more things later on than you do
Well,
at the
you
beginning.
think of things as they're
As you
happening. The
go.
swamping, the mosquitoes. And you fix this as you go, and it's pretty cool because I think that's why it went from 20 million to 10 million because they're like, well, let's backtrack it, and then like once we see how it functions, let's amplify it more.
I don't know, but
It's pretty cool.
it does show that, you know, in the very beginning, it's not going to be the way you expect it. You're going
Definitely.
to have goals,
Yep.
but there's still something off in Astroworld
Yeah.
that to me just makes me feel like, I don't know, maybe this just wasn't a good idea. So that was their best year. 1971 was their best year. They expanded with a lot more rides. They extended the hours from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. and then on Saturdays to 12 a.m.
Wow.
New shows were there, so they had like shows, like little skits at the theme park. And
Mm-hmm.
so there was new shows. There was a single day record of almost 20,000 people on Saturday of May 15th. So 20,000 people in a single day for them was a lot because there it wasn't that many before, in a single day at least. By 1972, March 30th, a 49-year-old woman was killed on a ride looking for a seat in the dark. So this ride was specifically in the dark. So you're put into this little, like, it's kind of like not a cave, but like a little I guess you could call it a cave, but it's covered. So it's all covered. They close the doors. It's all dark. You're supposed to look for your seat in the dark. I guess it lights up once it starts spinning because it spins. You're supposed to for your seat in the dark, and the person that was working that ride did not see her get on.
Ah.
And when she was looking for a ride, they started the ride, and so she ended up dying.
See.
And that was the first time someone was killed.
What year was that again?
This was in 1972.
During the year after their best year.
Mm-hmm.
They better have that lawsuit money.
I don't know what yeah, that was the first person that has died so far
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
at the
Astro
theme
World,
park.
Six Flags.
Yeah. So, right, I mean, the prices ended up rising because at that time there was the situation that was happening. I guess the inflation was getting really bad.
Yeah,
So at that time they started raising their prices up,
yeah,
but also because of the fact that they just expanded,
yeah.
so now they're wanting to obviously
Okay,
pay
pay
or get
charge
back.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the adults were $5.50 and then the kids were $4.
Mm,
Okay. I
mm,
don't know if that $1 still applied if you go after 7 p.m., but the tickets did rise.
yeah.
So on New Year's Eve, 1972, a fire on top of Astro's hospital.
Hotel.
A fire started on Astroworld's hotel
Mm-hmm.
on the top of
The top floor.
on the top floor. About $150,000 in damage was done. Supposedly there was like a cigarette found on the ninth floor, but the seventh floor, I'm sorry. But when they investigated it, they found like flammable liquid, and so they questioned arson.
Hmm?
Arson.
Like, for instance, attempt like a terrorist
Like
kind
if
of
no no
attack.
no, like if somebody was trying to burn down the
Yeah, yeah,
hotel.
yeah.
Not
Like,
a terrorist attack,
well,
not
it means
specifically.
terrorism. Like for instance, they're trying to purposely like kill people.
Yes, like purposely trying to do damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So they questioned it. So I don't know if
That's what it's
they
called, arsenal.
said arson. I don't know if they settled for arson or it was just done by an accident, but the damages were $150,000.
Yeah.
That's how much. But by 1975, it became part of the Six Flags. So at first, in the very very beginning, it was just Astroworld. It was just the Astroworld theme park. And then Six Flags was like, okay, let's buy you guys out. Like, I'll buy you guys, and then you can be part of
Oh, I
Six
thought
Flags.
Astro World was made by Six
No,
Flags.
it
Oh,
was
okay,
made by
now.
a judge back in the days.
Oh, okay. A judge.
Yeah.
That's good. So he can fight his own cases.
So yeah, so he did that, and then Six Flags was like, "I'll buy, Astroworld, and you can be part of Six Flags."
Mm-hmm.
So it became part of Six Flags in 1975. And in 1960, a 2-year-old was killed in on another ride. It fell off of the teacup. So you know the teacup, the
Mm-hmm.
cups where you like turn, they have like a little piece in the middle, and you turn it to like make it
Yeah.
spin, and it goes around. So supposedly this 2-year-old fell out of that teacup and died.
Mm.
So there goes another death in Astroworld. On August 15th, 1977, 11:35 a.m., a 15-year-old was thrown off the Texas, I can't
Mhm.
say it,
Mhm.
cyclone on the first drop. So you know the Texas
Yeah.
cyclone, like the one in Six Flags.
Actually, I don't.
It's like a wooden one. It's white and it's
Oh
wooden,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and everybody gets on it. I'm too scared. I've gone on it before, but it just makes me feel so. I don't know. It creeps me out because it's all made of wood. So anything, and you can feel it shake. So I'm like, oh no, I really hope I get off this ride alive. But this this girl, this 15-year-old, was on this ride, and supposedly on the very first drop of that ride, she flew out.
Was she not buckled in?
So they said that when she was riding this ride, allegedly she tried to stand up. Allegedly, we're not 100% sure if that's the case, or they were trying to save their butt. Maybe they were trying to be like, oh no, she was like, everything was like good, she just was trying to stand up.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's what they stated. She suffered injuries in her skull and her foot, and she ended up, yeah,
That's annoying.
passing away. So in 1979, a boy was trying to sneak into the park,
Mm-hmm.
and he was 17 years old, and he got crushed by a train in the park and died.
Dang, that's not funny. It's just like that boy was trying to be all sneaky and stuff, and choo choo, boom,
But still, like, you're supposed to have, like,
reinforcements.
danger, do not go into the spot,
I'm
the
sure it
theme park.
does,
But I don't know, like, maybe
because
they
that
did it.
hasn't stopped me from trying to sneak into
See, this
places.
is what happens to kids like you.
Yeah,
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's why I stick
because
with
it's
the
more
rules. If I
fun.
see a sign that says "Do not enter," I'm not entering.
I know. I'm like,
Like,
why not?
no, 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 no.
Let
I'm
me go
not
see.
curious like that. I'm good.
You know
So,
when I see fence gates and they'll be like, do not go in and this and that, like protected and everything. I get a little stick and I'm like, "Zzz."
oh my gosh, you're
See
just
if
a
it has
little.
electricity,
I'm scared for our
and then I'm
kids.
like, ah.
I'm scared for our kids. Well, I'm scared for me because I don't know what kind of kids that's gonna turn out. Gonna be curious kids. Anyway, so that's what happened to that kid, right? In 1979. So this is a little bit after they opened, so about maybe less than 10 years, right? They
Mhm.
opened in 68,
8, no?
so almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So like 9 years. There was an energy crisis in 1979, which was caused by the Iranian Revolution in
Mm?
1979.
And look what's going on right now.
They already Trump announced that they ceased fire,
Who? Iran?
Iran and Israel.
I don't think so.
They
I had to
did.
look up to it.
Iran
You know what I'm
admitted it.
saying? Because they literally shot missiles at Qatar.
Yeah, that was before this.
Ah,
So they did that yesterday, the day before yesterday, and then this morning they ceased fire.
we're gonna see what's up. By on TikTok, 2 times speed.
Yeah.
Little life hack: if you guys want to watch a lot of videos all at the same time, and you only have like 2 hours to watch them in 2 times speed or 3 times
I
speed.
don't know how he
When you
be
get
watching
used
that.
to it, you get so much information in one time. It's insane, especially if you have ADHD. If you watch it at 2 times speed, you have to focus because there's so much going on. Use it at your own risk because it might make your ADHD worse.
Oh my god. Okay, we're getting sidetracked. All right, so when that crisis happened, production dropped to 4%. Crude oil doubled. So yeah,
Mm.
so it doubled. There were talks to close gas stations on the weekends. So they were thinking of closing the gas station on the weekends, but the
To
problem
save a
is,
little gas.
yes, but they fought against this because for them that was when they had the most
Money.
people,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like,
money
yeah.
coming in. A lot of people would come on the weekends because school is going on, especially like not in the like during school years.
Mm-hmm.
um they would have more people on the weekends. So they're like, okay, if you guys close the gas stations on the weekends, people are not going to want to come because they're not going to have any gas.
Mm-hmm.
So now they were like trying to fight for it. That continued.
Mm-hmm.
They had to deal with that. In 1982, prices changed a lot. So they went up to $12.95 for all rides and shows. I don't know if this included every kids and adults, or this was just kids, or this was just adults.
Wow, that's more than
But
double.
yeah, but they did raise them, and it was $12.95 for all rides and shows. Now, if you just wanted to watch the shows, it would be $9.95.
Mm-hmm.
So they went up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Waterworld was built at that time. So now they had, like, how
That's the
in
first
Six
White
Flags?
Waters.
Yeah. So it was Waterworld. So in 1983, a 7-year-old died in Waterworld. She drowned. So already things happening
Yeah,
as it
that's
opened,
sadly.
right? In the same month, the Texas cyclone, 3 cars fell off the tracks,
Ay, ay, ay. That's not, doesn't have,
14 feet down.
yeah, it doesn't have to do nothing with like safety. That's them on maintenance.
Yeah. A 22-year-old employee was crushed to death, injuring 3 other people. And then they ruled it a human error,
Yeah.
not maintenance error. They ruled it like the workers that they accidentally didn't see that the car was coming, and so they ended up taking the or letting go the other cars, and then yeah. So it was like a human error,
Mm. I get
not a
you.
maintenance
As in
error.
like the car hit another car. Yeah.
Well, yes. So there was other ones that were not being used,
Mm-hmm.
and those hit. So that's why there wasn't many, because there were some people that were not on the cars.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So, they ruled it as in human error.
So the 22
In
year
19
old was the one that was operating it, and that's the one that got
no, the
crushed. Oh.
22-year-old was at the bottom,
Ah.
and it got crushed by the. It was 14 feet. Yeah.
Ah. Well, at least he didn't feel no pain, you know?
Still, that's still sad.
It's sad, very sad.
In 1985, a woman had a seizure underwater in Waterworld and died an hour later at the hospital. Husband tried to sue the place.
Yeah.
Um,
She had a
supposedly,
seizure.
huh?
She had a what?
She had a seizure.
Yeah. And he tried to sue because she had a seizure?
Yes, so he tried to sue because they were not prepared for those type of measures. So if somebody has a seizure, like, they should have paramedics. They should have somebody there already, like,
Or like a
just
kit
in
or
case.
something.
Yeah, just in case, to have to, be prepared for these type of things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he tried to sue. In 1988, a 17-year-old was shot in the mouth. They started checking bags.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, so somebody had came in with a gun, and he was shot in the mouth.
Ay,
On October
niños.
30th, 2005, that was the park's last day. So 37 years open. They were closing because of financial decline and declining attendance. So they closed because financially they were not able to afford any of it anymore. And they're also the attendance of the park was declining. So
Mm.
not a lot of people were coming
They
anymore.
probably didn't do renovations.
I don't know. And then they also at that time they were building something else around there. So if you see the picture of like where this park was, it was the park Astroworld. There was an astral, I think it was called Astral Globe. I don't know. It was something there. It was basically the stadium, Astro Stadium. I think that's what it's called. Astro Stadium, that literally walking distance.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of shared a parking lot,
Mm-hmm.
because there wasn't that many games, so most of the time Astro was using it. But then they opened another area, and I believe it was like a rodeo or something like that. They opened that, and so it literally, like, the parking lot was full. There was no space for anybody. Nobody wanted to come anymore, and it was all this mess. So they decided to just close it down, because they couldn't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened. But all these deaths to me made it seem like, okay, Astral, like, okay, I know that there's deaths in, like, Disney World, allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Allegedly.
there's a few things that we need to talk about, or we could talk about Disney World later on. But, like, supposedly, like, they would never state, they always state, or they state that there was never any deaths in Disney World, but allegedly it's because they would take the people and take them to the hotel, and then say that they died hotel, say in the hospital, and say that they died in the hospital, not in Disney World itself. So allegedly, there's no deaths in Disney World, but that's another story.
Injuries. There's a lot of injuries though.
In Astroworld, there was a few deaths. There's probably more, but we don't know. There was probably deaths that, like, how we talked about in Disney World, where they, like, said that they died in the hospital and they didn't die in Astroworld. We don't know, but these are the few deaths that I found from by researching, that happened in Astroworld. So to me, it made it seem like, okay, Astroworld is kind of already iffy to me, the word at least. So now we're gonna get into Travis Scott Astroworld. So Astroworld was a festival. It started in 2018 and it continued in 2019, and then in 2020 it was canceled because of the crisis that we went through. And then they reopened it for November 2021. It was going to be the first 2-day event. So every other festival or every other concert, it was just one day. But this day was going to be a 2-day event because he wanted to go big, since we were all, like, in the pandemic, and we were all closed indoors and we were able
Everybody
to go
wanted to
out.
go out.
He was like, we're gonna make this one big. So everybody was like, okay, they were so excited, finally they're able to get out. So this festival was basically a tribute for Astroworld, the theme park. So that's why he created Astroworld, like we talked about, right? On November 5th, 2021, like I said, it was a 2-day event. There was a theme park in the festival. So there was, like, the Ferris wheel, and there was a bunch of different rides there. And there were many artists. The artists included Travis Scott, SZA, Chief Keef, Bad Bunny,
Drake.
Drake, Young Thug, Little Baby, 22 Savage,
21
etc. Oh
Savage.
shoot, sorry. 21 Savage. 21 Savage, etc. Right? There were so many artists. Sorry.
22 Savage.
It sounds better to me. So it was a big festival and everybody was super excited, like I said. And there was photographers that were basically there was photographers that they paid for the festival.
Mm-hmm.
And they told them, we want you guys to capture the most craziest things. We want to look more crazier this year than the year of 2019.
Yeah.
Because the 2019 the festival back in 2019, they captured videos of people, like, pushing against the gates and breaking the gates and breaking in and all this stuff. So they were like, we got to match that energy. We need to match that energy. We need to see that. We need to make it seem like this year was the best year and the craziest year for Astroworld. Does that make sense? So that's what they try to do. So People, as soon as it opened at 10 a.m., the doors, as soon as the doors opened at 10 a.m., people started running to those gates. The same thing that happened in 2019 is the same thing that happened in 21. They were running to those gates. They broke into the gates. So the security that they hired for this event, they were not trained. They were just told show up at this, like, even one person was hired the day before and he was not trained. He was just told to show up at this place at this time and just make sure that just realize that people are going to try to break in. So we got to be ready for that. So as soon as the doors open, that guy, he sees everybody running to the gate. So you can't stop everybody. You can only stop maybe 2 or 3 people, but it's just so many people running to the gates. These people that were running to these gates were not, most of the time, not people that had tickets. So a lot of people were coming in with no tickets. So initially, Live Nation was the one that hosted this whole event. Live Nation initially sold 50,000 tickets. But more people were showing up without tickets. So there was more than 50,000 people at this event. So now people are getting trampled while they're, trying to break in. And it's already starting off in a bad start. So to me, when I saw that, the gates were not sturdy. So if they knew that, this was going to happen, why aren't you going to provide more sturdy gates or
didn't it kind of sound like they wanted to capture people knocking down gates?
So they wanted to capture the craziness, but yes. So that's what it kind of seemed like. So Travis Scott's reputation was basically asking for people to do this. Travis's concerts, in every concert you would see him, like, there was a couple of videos that I watched where this girl, well, there's a few people, but there's this one girl that was specifically, like, she was on a balcony and there was, like, at the bottom there was a crowd of people, and in this balcony she was standing on there and he was like, just jump, they'll catch you, just jump. She jumps. Another guy does the same thing. He's on this balcony and he jumps. He breaks both his legs. Travis Scott is telling him to jump in this video.
Don't be scared! Don't be scared!
Yeah! Even in one of the videos of, like, Astroworld, this guy is climbing on a tree. And he's like, oh, he wants to rave. And everybody's like, and then he's like, jump everybody and all this stuff, right? And so he causes this type of, or he, like, energy. Shows this, he causes this type of energy. This is his reputation. So this is what kind of he was asking for. There was another situation or another video that I saw where somebody was trying to take his shoes, and he said something to him, and he was like, you were trying to take my shoes, and he tells everybody around him, he's like, fuck them up, and they go and they start beating him up.
You tried to take my shoe? You want to be a thief? Fuck him up.
So it's like, he was obviously preparing for this, and he obviously wants this to happen in these concerts. So it's kind of starting off at a bad start. So the merch line, as soon as you go in, it's literally, when I was watching the videos, there's no line. It's all, like, scattered, like, there's no, like, organization. There's nothing. It's all scattered. Everybody is everywhere. You will wait in that line for 4 hours to get merch. In the sun. There's nothing to cover you from the sun. Literally, you're just sitting there in the sun for 4 hours to get merch. And they would do it because obviously it's Travis Scott. Everybody is a big fan of them. So they're like, I'm going to wait 4 hours. Everybody was getting cramped. There was just no organization, like I said. The stages at the concert, there was 2 stages. There was one for all of the other artists, and the other stage was specifically for Travis Scott. So nobody was using that stage until Travis Scott performs. The shape of this stage was an upside down cross. That's the first thing I noticed when I looked at the stage. Literally an upside down cross. So to me, it feels off. By 7 p.m., SZA performs. At the end, everybody started moving to Travis Scott's stage. Now, if we look back at that picture, they're coming from the left side of his stage. If we're looking from, not from the stage point of view, but the audience's point of view, people were not trying to move around to get more
They were starting to
space.
get cluttered.
They were just trying to get cluttered in that one spot on the left side. In the screen of the stage, in the very middle, the first thing I noticed when I saw it, when I saw his stage, you see you on the other side. That's the first thing that you see once you approach the stage. So to me, it just seemed a little bit off. A lot of people were talking about as soon as they got there, they heard a few music, like there was like music playing at the stage, and it just felt off. It felt really weird, like the energy was just not good.
See you on the other
So
side. They're referring to like see you in hell.
mhm. That's how everybody's interpreting it, but it kind of makes sense because of how he promoted it, and I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So it started getting hectic. Everybody started getting, cluttered. Everyone was starting to lose each other. Like, if you were in a group, there was a few people that were probably lost into the crowd and stuff like that. So the countdown started. There was a countdown clock in the middle where it said see you on the other side. Now during this countdown, everyone started like getting really excited. Everyone was like, "Oh, like let's get closer. Let's like, try to get to the front." So everybody started pushing more up to the front. So that was even worse because now people are starting to get squished. Squished? Squashed? Squished?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's where it started to get tighter for people. Travis Scott comes out at 9:02 p.m. Right?
That's 2 hours later.
Yes. So during that whole entire time, people were already getting squished, but nobody was thinking of it that seriously because it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
People were, they were getting excited and they were like trying to like get to the stage and everything, but it wasn't to the point where like they were so excited they were just pushing. When you jump, you like
Mm-hmm.
push and you like try to get closer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like that yet until he came out. So by 9:02 p.m., fires started like bursting up. So I don't know if you saw the stage or if you saw the performance, but as soon as Travis comes out, the first thing that you see, so the countdown finishes, right? Countdown finishes, it goes to 1, right? The screen goes to black. Now all you see is this little, to me, it seems like a portal. So you see lights. The first light lights up and it's red. Then the second light lights up and it's also red. And the third one lights up and it's red. And now it looks like a portal. This is in the middle of the stage. This is right where in front of the circle where it said see you on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
which is the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So now when he comes out, then there's a bunch of flames. That little circle where it said see you on the other side, in the very middle, it now turns into an eye inside of a portal. So it seems a little bit demonic, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to picture that for you.
Mm-hmm.
So people started getting more excited and they started moving to the front. Now the crowd is starting to move back and forth, back and forth. They don't have control anymore where they move, the people, because the crowd, because they're so packed, the crowd, if they move back, they move back. Because they're already squished.
Mm-hmm.
So any movement you move, I'm gonna move the same move. I'm gonna move the same way because of the fact that I'm just so close to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have no position to where I can just balance. So everybody started started going back and forth, and then they started falling on each other. So that's when people started, feeling like they can't breathe, started freaking out. Paramedics started pulling people out of the crowd. So I don't know if you've seen the videos, but there's videos on TikTok where I saw, and there was like the little barricade. The paramedics are on the other side where it's empty, and they're pulling the people from the crowd from that barricade over the barricade and pulling them into the empty spots because they can't breathe. They're like, get me out of here, get me out of here. And everybody's rushing towards these barricades because they really just want to get out because it's just so crowded, they can't breathe. And it's starting to feel like basically like hell, is how they described it.
Mm-hmm.
So, the problem number one, the stage was unused all day. So, there was nobody there to really like, to kind of guide the people, you
Mm-hmm.
know, to make them realize, okay, this side is too packed, let's go to this side, you know. So there was nobody there the whole entire day. People were coming from the left side of the stage to go into his area, and so it was getting packed on the left side of the stage, and there was no room. People were on the ground falling, they were already getting trampled on. It was basically like a stampede. There was a few groups that they show on Netflix. So a few friend groups that they kind of talk about,
Mm-hmm.
and they interview. And the first group involved Rudy, Manuel, Raul, and Marcel. This is the first group. The second group is Sophia and a few of her friends. Sophia was a registered nurse, so she had just gotten her nursing license.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third group was Michaela and Bree and Aiden. Michaela was Aiden's girlfriend, and Bree was Michaela's friend.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the groups that they kind of show on Netflix. And I did want to talk about them because I wanted to get a little bit more personal on really what happened to each individual person. Like I said, everybody was on the left side. So everybody that basically, not everybody, but mostly everybody that experienced this whole, you know,
It was on
stampede
the left side.
was on the left side of the stage. The right side, it was so weird because people were like on TikTok, they were like, when you had a different experience at the Travis Scott and they're just having fun. There's people that did not experience what those people,
On the
the
left side,
stampede,
yeah.
experienced. So they didn't even know that all of this was
The
going
right
on.
side
They
didn't know
thought,
the left side was getting
well,
crashed.
not necessarily just the right side, but just
Oh,
mostly like
people
people like
that were
even if
Gucci.
you were in the front on the left side, you didn't know what was going on in the back. Like, it was mostly in the back area of the left side of the stage where it was just hectic. And there's people in the front that didn't even know what was going on and they were having the best time of their lives. But then the people in the back were having the worst time of their lives and they lost their lives.
Dang.
So it was just really weird. But, anyways, like I said, everybody in these groups were on the left side of the stage. So the first group, Rudy and Raul, I guess I can call him. Raul was in front of Rudy, and Rudy was behind him, and they were already getting pushed and feeling cluttered. And Raul states in the Netflix, he's like, I already couldn't breathe. I was trying to calm myself down because I knew that if I would panic, I wouldn't have the oxygen. Like, all my oxygen will go away. So I need to, like, you know, preserve
Calm
my,
yourself down.
yeah, and calm myself down to preserve my oxygen because I didn't want to, you know, waste it. But he hears Rudy behind him, and Rudy goes, hey man, I can't breathe. And he tells Rudy, like, okay, just relax. Like, it's okay. Just drink some water. Just relax. So that's all he says to him. The second group, Bree and Aiden. Remember how Bree is Aiden's girlfriend? I mean, no. Bree is Michaela's friend, which Michaela is Aiden's girlfriend. Bree and Aiden fall back and they fall to the ground. And Aiden states in the Netflix show that he fell on top of people. So he was like the second row. And then more people kept falling on him. Bree was behind him. So Bree was the first row of people on the ground. So if you see Bree, Bree is this literally tiny girl. And she's on the very bottom. And all Aiden hears is Bree screaming out for help and saying, "Help me, help me, help me." And he can't, obviously he can't move, and he just says he says in the Netflix show that he just sits there and he's like, I gotta accept that this might be my last breath, so I need to calm myself down and just let it happen. And then eventually he feels somebody grab him and pull him up. So they pull him up and he gets up. He's looking for Bree, but he can't find Bree. So he gets so like scared and nervous that he goes and tries to go up to the cameraman. Do you remember those two spots of where the camera people are? He goes up to that spot and he screams at him. He's like, "Stop the show, stop the show, stop the show. People are dying." Nobody listens. There's even people in the video. There's video on TikToks of him doing that. And people that are experiencing a whole different vibe from the show, they're just dancing. They're dancing, they're having a good time. They're just looking at him like he's weird. And like they don't know what's going on. But he's telling this cameraman, "Stop the show, stop the show." And the camera's like, "Get off, get off." Then this one girl comes up with him because there was nobody backing him up. This girl is the only girl that backed him up. She got onto the platform because he was just on the ladder.
The rail.
She got onto the platform and she screams at the cameraman, "Please stop the show, please stop the show. There's somebody dying. There's people dying."
That's okay, we see real quick. Please be this door.
They're telling him to get off. So nobody's listening to them. And then you see people calling 911. You see people trying to talk to, the paramedics, telling them to stop the show and all this stuff. And there's in the Netflix show, it shows like a little bit of a glimpse of the audio of the 911 call, and all they're saying is like, we're at the Travis Scott concert, people are getting trampled, and people are dying, they can't breathe, like we don't know what to do, can you please like send police
Help.
over?
Yeah.
Well, around 9:31, this is still all going on. So it's already been 30 minutes since the show has started. This is when Aiden goes to the top of the camera and nobody listens to him. And then people are starting to do CPR on people. The paramedics are starting to do CPR on people. Random people are starting to do CPR on each other because they're trying to help each other out. And this is so group 2, I don't know if you remember, but Sophia, or I think it's group 3. No, group 2. Sophia was the one that was a registered nurse. She falls down and she feels so much pressure on her body, and she starts feeling like she can't breathe because people are now on top of her. She also thinks that this is probably the last time that she'll be alive. So she's really scared. And she also sees somebody grab her hand and pull her up. And it was this man. And then she turns around and she sees this other guy. And he's on the floor. And he looks like he's just like he can't breathe. He looks like lifeless, basically. So she goes and she checks his pulse. She says it was very faint. It was still there, but it was very faint, like if it was about to be gone. She starts doing CPR on him, and she tries to get him to wake up because she's a registered nurse. She's like, I gotta help people. Like, if I'm a registered nurse, I gotta be the ones
She took
helping
that oath.
Yeah. So she goes and she gives him CPR, and he starts waking up. He starts waking up and starts getting up, and she saved his life. If it wasn't for her, he would have died. His pulse was very, very faint. And that guy comes out in the Netflix. And he says that if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been here. He's like, I give her my whole life. Like, I thank her so much. And they're friends to this day. At one point, Travis stops the show for somebody that supposedly passed out.
We need somebody to help him. Somebody passed out right here. Somebody passed out right here. Hold on, don't touch him, don't touch him. Everybody just back up. Security, somebody help jump in real quick. Keep going. Somebody jump in. Come on, security.
You see the videos on TikTok. You see him getting pulled out, and it's a kid. He looks like a kid. He's getting carried out, and he looks limp. Like, he looks so lifeless. I saw another video where it shows before this whole situation, he was having a seizure on the ground, and everybody is like, nobody's trying to help him. They kind of pushed him to the side so he won't, because when you're having a seizure, you never want them to be on their back because they can supposedly
choke on their
tongue.
Yeah.
So they tell him to put him on the side, so they put him to the side. And that's when, Travis Scott pauses or stops the show for this kid. And he gets picked up, and you see him lifeless, literally lifeless. And then he gets put on the ground, and they start trying to do CPR. This whole entire time, Travis is just humming. It felt so weird, like he was continuing the show. While he realizes that, this kid is passed out, he sees him getting carried out. He sees him lifeless. At least, if everybody else could see it, there's a video of it. There's no way that he can't see that he looks lifeless. He saw that, they were trying to get his attention because he passed out. How can you not see that he looks lifeless and you're still humming and singing?
It's weird that he's humming.
Yes, he's humming. And I will show you the video after. On the Netflix show, it shows it too. He's humming. He's humming this whole entire time. So allegedly, two people were the only ones that are allowed to stop the show. Two people from Live Nation. But at that time, the police was trying to look for the manager of Live Nation, and they could not find them. They could not find the manager. Around 9:51 p.m. So it's already almost an hour. The show is still going on, and people are still getting trampled on, still getting there's still stampede going on. People are dying. People are getting CPR. An hour. Imagine how it feels for them. It probably felt like multiple hours. But anyways, manager finally went backstage, and he talks to the audio engineer. So the audio engineer is the only person that's able to talk to Travis through his earpiece. So supposedly, I don't know who was talking to who. I think the manager was talking to the audio engineer, but he states, "We have 4 active CPRs going on. 2 are most likely dead. It is very, very bad. There are more crushed victims I have ever seen in my 25-year career. We have to have a discussion in his ear," which his is Travis Scott, "letting him know what's going on. We need to shut this thing down in 8 minutes at 10 o'clock. That's what was told to the audio engineer. We don't know exactly what was told to Travis Scott in his ear, because he still continues the show after the 10 o'clock, after the 8 minutes. Because that's when Drake comes out. So supposedly, from the interviews that I watched, they told him in his ear, "Hey, we have to stop the show after Drake comes out. After you guys sing this song, then we gotta stop the show." But that wasn't what was said to the audio engineer. The manager told him to stop at 10 o'clock. But Drake hadn't come out yet. Supposedly there was also communication between police and the organizers, and they told them that they can continue the show because they don't want to stop and trigger the crowd in panic and them start running around, and going crazy. But people are dying. Why would you do that? There's already people dead. There's already more people dying. And you don't want to stop the show because you don't want the crowd to go ballistic or crazy. So, at 10:13 p.m., the concert ends. So 13 minutes after the time that they told him to stop, or at least the manager told the audio engineer to tell him to stop at that time. 13 minutes after. Ambulance was everywhere. So the ambulance, there was ambulance even during his performance, and there was one video shown that the ambulance was in the crowd, trying to get into the crowd, trying to get the people that were passed out, trying to do CPR, and Travis notices the ambulance and says in the mic, "What is that? What's going on?" But continue the show.
What the fuck is that? If everybody good, put a middle finger up in the sky. Okay, where my guy, man? Come on. Hey, all that. 2 hands to the sky. 2 hands to the sky.
2 hands up, y'all. 2 hands up.
Y'all know what y'all came to do. Chase me, let's go.
Whoa,
I want to make this motherfucking ground shake, goddammit.
whoa.
And people are literally on top of the ambulance golf cart, dancing. Not realizing that they need to get through because people are trying to get CPR. You know, all the things that he would say about like, oh, jump, or like, you know, mess him up or whatever, you know, like the reputation that he has. People wouldn't be doing this. You now have a reputation, and now you're allowing people to do this. Like, you're literally allowing them to do that. That's what your reputation is. So now they're jumping on this, you know, the ambulance and stuff, the ambulance car, and not realizing that people are actually needing help. So, group one, when the concert ends, in the group chat, I don't know if you remember, but that was Rudy, Raul, Manuel, and all them. So, group one, they texted in the group chat to meet at a certain spot. Everyone got there, but Rudy. Rudy didn't answer. Rudy didn't get into the spot, so people started panicking. So they started calling the hospitals to see if they, you know, got Rudy. And one of them said that they did have someone under that name, but they weren't able to disclose anything or say anything because of the fact that they are not family. So they ended up calling the mom of Rudy. Now, Rudy, you know, Now, the friends of Rudy ends up telling the mom, hey, have you seen Rudy? Or have you heard of Rudy? I'm sorry. Have you heard from Rudy?
From Rudy.
And she goes, no. And then they're like, well, we can't find him. We don't know where he's at. They started explaining this whole situation. And then the brother of Rudy, there at the house with the mom, states that you need to go to Texas. You need to go to Texas. I mean, no, sorry, because they're already in Texas. You need to go to Houston. You need to go to Houston, because we need to see what's going on. So she goes. Her husband go, and they drive there. And all she says is like, Rudy has to be okay. Like, Rudy has to be okay. Not knowing when she gets there, she's about to be told the most horrible news ever in her life. As soon as she gets to the hospital, she asks the police officer, is Rudy okay? Is Rudy okay? And they told her, no, he actually has passed. And that's where she breaks down and she starts crying and screaming. And it was the saddest thing of her life. Group 3, they were looking for Bree. Now, this is Bree, Michaela, and Aiden. I don't know if you remember them. But that's group 3. And they were looking for Bree. Bree was the one that was asking for help to help. Remember when she was at the bottom? She was asking Aiden for help, and nobody could get her out. They found out that she was at the hospital, and they get there, and the family's already there, and the family's crying and screaming, And that's when they found out that she was already dead. So the news stated that around 10 people died. But when I was looking at the reports, it said I counted 11. And then after that, it was 11 that I saw. But then at the very bottom, it stated there was more people that were dead or that died. So what was weird is that they were stating that there was only 10, but supposedly, allegedly, they were only counting the ones that had tickets. There was allegedly around 100 plus people that actually had died.
100 plus people?
Yes, allegedly.
Oh my goodness.
This is what people are stating. And in the reports,
What
it
the
shows
heck?
a lot of people that are not named, that are named under John Doe. But they say that they didn't want to state all these people because, allegedly, because they're not responsible for them because they didn't have a ticket. But the people that had tickets supposedly were only 10, but in the report I read 11. So it was just really weird to me when I saw that, but whatever. Lawsuits started coming out, and there was 49 lawsuits filed against Live Nation, Astroworld promoter, so Travis Scott, Apple Music, and Epic Records were facing $750 million lawsuit. So nobody was accountable for the deaths. Nobody was charged. Nobody went to jail. It was all ruled as basically an accident. So that to me was sad.
That's dumb. How can there be no justice for someone's death?
I don't know.
There has
I
to be
have no
justice
idea.
for someone's death.
It's just I don't know. That it blows my mind because all these people, this company has so much money, they can get themselves out of it, and it's just to me
I
it's
don't
crazy.
think they have $750 million though.
Well, I don't know. They're the biggest company out there that be promoting artists all the time, so I don't know. Maybe, but what really happened was supposedly it wasn't an accident. This was a lack of foresight and abandonment of basic safety protocols. So they didn't have the right people. They what's it called? Didn't realize that 50,000 people did not fit in the space. Not that they didn't realize. Supposedly they knew. There was text messages, but I'll get to that. So Live Nation sold 50,000 tickets. The main show capacity, the max was 35,000. So where Travis Scott's stage was at, the capacity was only 35,000, but they sold 50,000 tickets. And then also people like broke in. So there was more than 50,000 people. So there was no way that 50,000 people plus could fit in that spot where Travis's stage was at, because they already realized that it was only 35 people that could fit there. 35,000 people that could fit there. Text messages showed that they knew 50,000 people would not fit in the main stage months before the show came or the show started, whatever. And they knew what was going on. So in the text messages, they say that, oh, well, like, there's no way that 50,000 people can fit in this space. This is what the text messages said. I don't know who was talking to who, but the text message said there's no way that 50,000 people can fit in this space. And this was only in October when they sent this message. And then on the day of the show, somebody was telling from the Live Nation, somebody was telling someone else that people are getting crushed. This could get worse. That they should pull the plug. Someone's gonna die. It was just so sad that Live Nation, their people, already basically
Realized.
knew
Yeah.
and realized what was going on, but they did not pull the plug or actually stop it. So, like I said,
They
nobody
didn't
was
even
accountable.
address it.
No. So the aftermath. So this is something that I started realizing. This wasn't shown. allegedly, well, it wasn't shown in the Netflix series or documentary because they wanted to make it look a little bit more family,
Friendly.
family friendly. Because from when I was doing research, allegedly one of the people that passed away, one of the 10, um this guy, his name was Axel. He was 21 years old. He was allegedly unrecognizable when they found him. And he was also not even, what's the word? Like, nobody stated that that was their son, or nobody stated that that's who they knew for about 2 days. His body was just there. You know how usually people, like, they go looking for their family or whatever, and they go to the hospital, and it's not even like a day after. They go like hours later. They go look for them, and they get them, and they claim that that's their family. He was not claimed for 3 days. So they had to put a picture of him all over the social media trying to get people to claim him because nobody would claim him. Yeah, it was so sad. But yeah, he was unrecognizable when his body was found because of how many people were stepping on his face. Allegedly. Like I said, allegedly 100 people died. Plus 100 plus people died. And they only counted the ones that had tickets. And the other ones were just named John Doe, or they had names, but they didn't count them as people that they were in charge of or like responsible of, because allegedly they didn't have tickets. I saw this video of this girl getting pulled or picked up on the stretcher, and this was already the ambulance, right? And when they get pulled up, she gets pulled up from the barricade. So they pull her up from the barricade, and then as soon as they pull her down, she slides off the barricade. I mean, off the stretcher, and falls on her head.
Oh my god.
And it's like she wasn't tied to make sure that she was secured on the stretcher, but she falls onto the ground into her head, and she's already passed out. That was one of the 10 that died. So they're thinking that
That was the
that
final blow.
fall was probably like a cause of maybe her death. Because you drop her. How are you going to drop somebody? It was so sad to see. That's one. And then the kid that had the seizure on the floor. And then that's when Travis, stops the show, and he gets picked up, and he looks like lifeless. I'm not sure if he was one of the 10, but I don't know if he lived. I'm not sure. Um, so there's a few conspiracy theories that I came across, and there was that people were thinking that it was like a satanic ritual, the whole festival. The advertisement, the poster that they were post, they so there's one that had two giant hands with eyes hovering over a portal. So that's this picture.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the two hands and the eyes in the hands, and then this is the portal. So this is
Mm-hmm.
hovering over a portal.
Excuse me.
This, I don't know what they are. To me, it looks like bones. Does it not? And like heads. It just looks weird to me. But that's one of the posters,
I
right?
think those are maybe souls.
I don't know. But that's one of the posters, right? And then at the very bottom, they're inverted stars. But I noticed that at the top, they're, regular stars.
Upright.
So what it makes me think of heaven and hell. You get it?
I mean, they could be diagonal stars.
Well,
These are,
if you're looking at it this way, yes.
yeah.
But still, like, the first thing I notice, at least when I see it, I see upside down stars. Upside down.
Yeah, because the star doesn't really have an upright or.
This is an upright.
Yeah,
Now,
these are just like tilted.
but that's the sign of Satan,
Mm-hmm.
an upside down star.
Because like this isn't really upside down. Because if
That's upside
oh
down.
slick. Oh shoot!
You see it now?
Ah!
So what it makes me think of is heaven and hell. This is the sign.
Okay, don't zoom into that.
I'm sorry, but that's what it looks like to me. All the other promotions were disturbing and off. They were weird. So this one, well, let's start with these. This one states, it's a portal. It's an eye, and it's Astroworld, and somebody going, or a few people, or a couple people going in, and that looks like a soul to me.
Oh shoot!
Like if a soul is getting pulled in.
Yeah.
And it says, open your eyes to a whole new universe. That's what one of the promotions states, right? Another one says, see you on the other side.
Is that a snake?
I don't know, but it looks like a portal, and then it looks like a bunch of there's a bunch of eyes around it. You see that? Like they're getting sucked in. That's another one.
Weird.
This one. This one seems more weird to me. So this one is Weekly World Truths. The true dystopia is here. When the end arrives, it's really the beginning. Who knows what lies beneath the surface, right? Dystopia. I don't know if you know what dystopia means.
Huh.
Dystopia is basically the opposite of utopia. So dystopia is an imagined world or society in which people lead wretched, dehumanized, fearful lives. It is an imagined place, possible state, in which everything is unpleasant or bad, typically a total totalitarian or environmentally degraded one. That's what dystopia means.
What is the slang for dystopia though?
What is the slang?
Because like some people,
Basically, it's a bad place. It's basically a bad
well, like the
place.
slang, yeah, well, like hell. They're
Yeah.
trying to describe hell.
So that's basically what it seems like, because it's
But that's weird because like rap, like they like honor hell.
not all rap. No, not all.
Some rap. Yeah.
There's a few artists that do kind of like, follow this type of, vibe, but it's not only rap. So like I said, it felt like hell. The stage, the way it was presented, it was like a portal. There was an eye in the middle when it started, and there's a bunch of fire everywhere. So it just seemed like if it was a ritual, like this was like a way to manipulate people. Like, when you get hypnotized, it was like you're being hypnotized. Like I don't know, you're falling into this trap.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it felt like, at least to people. And on his shirt, well, first on this poster where it shows all the artists and the stars and then the hands hovering over the portal, there's this picture. It's normal people, and then it looks like they have horns once they go through the door, through the portal. You see that? So there's a clearer picture on his shirt, the shirt that he wore the day of the concert. So the people,
oh, they turn into fire. They turn into fire. You get it? It's like
well, the
they're
way I
chill
saw
and
it,
then they turn into fire because this looks like flames, not horns.
okay, so the way I saw it is, first there's normal people going through the portal, and now they're red. So the normal people are blue, and then once they go through the portal, it's red. They look like they have horns or fire, but either way, to me, heaven and hell. Blue is heaven, red is hell.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to the portal into the
They
hell.
want chaos. They want anarchy. They want like lawlessness. That's what they like.
No, this is not what, at least
Lawlessness is
this is
hell.
not what I'm trying to show you.
Portray.
Yeah, what I'm trying to tell you is that it's a satanic ritual. Like, meaning that he's trying to basically, he works for me, okay? It's the legend, obviously. This is my opinion, that he is involved with the devil, and that he's trying to sacrifice people to go into hell so he can get whatever he needs in this world. Allegedly. That's how I view it, and why people are stating that it's a satanic ritual. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So the picture resembles that. Resembles people's souls going into a portal and turning or getting into hell or entering into hell.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it seems like. So I don't know if you know this, and I didn't put the picture, but you know how in before when you go into his
Concert.
concert, there's a huge mouth.
Yeah.
You walk into the mouth. I don't know if you know this, but there is a picture of or a resemblance of that. It's called the Hell's Mouth. Hell's Mouth. If you see it, and I'll put a picture of it, and I'll show you in a bit. But basically, it's a bunch of people. There's this picture, and there's a bunch of people running around, looking like they're screaming, and there's some people that are getting sucked into this mouth, and this mouth is just wide open. This mouth is called the Hell's Mouth, and they people back in the days, Christians, would state or represent that as the hell because it's like you're getting sucked in. You don't want to go in, but you're getting sucked in because you have to, because this is where you belong, basically, allegedly, right? So this is what they kind of come up with, and they call it the Hell's Mouth. And the Hell's Mouth is basically a glimpse into the abyss and never closes its mouth, always remaining open as it waits for new souls to fall into it. Often a Hell's Mouth has many souls visible inside its mouth, struggling to escape but unable to do so as the fiery depths of medieval damnation consumes them. So that's the first thing you walk into when you get to that concert, is his mouth. So it seems like, to me, looks like Hell's Mouth. So that's the conspiracy theories that I kind of came across, and to me it kind of makes sense. But this is all alleged, obviously, but no one was responsible for the deaths. If it was 10, if it was 11, if it was 100 plus, we're not 100% sure how many people actually died, but they state 10. But then what if nobody was responsible for those people to this day? So it was just really sad how what all those people went through, and they're not able to, their families are not able to sleep at night because nobody was responsible for them. Nobody was held accountable. But yeah, any thoughts?
I wonder how the court case went. How in the world did the judge think that that wasn't their fault?
I don't know. I have no idea what went wrong or what happened.
We should open the judge's case and see what they said against their defense.
Yeah, that's Astroworld, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Like, subscribe, and then comment down below what your thoughts are. Anything that we missed, anything that we should talk about, we'll pin it on the top. Yeah, see you in the next episode.
Bye.